I'm going to put 5 words on the screen. I want you to memorize them. Okay, time is up. Let's see if you remember them. Please say the 5 words. So, how'd you do? Let's try another exercise. Try to spell the word arithmetic. Why do you need to know these things? Why do you need to memorize 5 words on a screen or be able to spell the word arithmetic? In some cases today, education in general is all about flash. It's who can recite the facts the quickest. For example, think of a spelling bee. A spelling bee entails students reciting facts. There's no thinking and understanding about words, it's just reciting letters. There are times when children spell words that they would never use in conversation. If they won't use these words to speak, then why does it matter if they can spell them? My concern is that we as educators keep drilling facts into our students' heads and expect them to repeat them without requiring our students to think or understand. Obviously, our students will need to memorize some facts, but this is not the sole job of educators. Our job, in my opinion, is to give our students the skills and understanding so that they can solve problems on their own. It is not about who can perform a task the quickest or memorize the most. These types of programs get a lot of publicity, but they leave the students lacking. We need to give our students the tools and understanding so that they have an education of substance rather than flash. The same applies to music education. Music in schools has become concerned with the flashiness of concerts. In music education, the problem is not so much about memorizing facts, but about perfection during concerts. It seems like it doesn't matter if a student has learned to sing as long as he can play the part for the concert. In Eric Bluestein's book, The Ways Children Learn Music, he writes, quote, "By putting on show after show after show, assembly program after holiday concert after spring fling, are we still meeting the needs of our students? Or, and this is a painful question to consider, are we merely exploiting children for our own selfish interests?" End quote. He writes about how we want to keep our jobs. And then he continues, quote, "All we need to do is keep in mind that performance must serve education, not the other way around." Obviously, music educators need to find a balance. We need to create performances that are good while giving our students all the necessary tools for being a musician. I believe if we approach teaching with the end in mind, we will achieve this balance. Ask yourself these questions to get thinking about the future of your students. How can my students be music makers in 10, 20, and 30 years? How is my ensemble or music class preparing them for this? Do I give my students the skills and understanding so they can make music without me? In what ways can my students be involved in music as adults? For me personally, working in a beginning band setting, I want to make sure that my students can accurately read music off the staff and play the right fingering. I want them to be able to play the correct rhythm. If they play something incorrect, I want them to be able to fix it without me. I want them to understand the music. For example, if I had a beginning flute student who was playing number 69 and they played the music like this, I would want them to know how to fix it. I wouldn't want to tell them, "Oh, you played the wrong rhythm where there's 8 notes and you should have played it bop, 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 bop." I would want them to know how to figure it out themselves. So I might ask them, what did you do wrong? And if they couldn't tell me, I might say, well, it had something to do with the rhythm. And I would keep questioning them until they understood and played it like this. Although it would take longer than me just telling them what to do, that way they would actually understand the music and would be able to fix it on their own next time. The same is true for general education. Students need to go beyond stating facts. They need to know the understanding behind it. By giving them the skills, motivation, awareness, and inclination, students will get an education of substance and be prepared for the future. In his book, Intellectual Character, Ron Rickard writes, we need to re-examine our goals. Quote, if we truly want smarter children, we need to know what smart looks like and stop confusing it with speed and knowledge. End quote. Rickard also writes, we must consider what our students will leave our classroom with. Is a child who can spell a long word faster smarter than one who takes more time? Is a child who can play a song with less practice time more musical than the one who requires practice time? So in conclusion, think about these questions. Take time to reflect and write down an answer. What are your goals? Is your goal for students to perform well at a concert or on a standardized test? Be honest. Really think. What are your overall goals? What should your students leave your class with? Is your program about flash or substance? Is it all about how it looks to parents and administration, or is it about something else? If it is about flash, how can you modify it so that the students are getting substance? As you enter into another week of teaching, think and reflect on these questions. How can you be different?